Hi there, I am Jenny with Roots and Wings Furniture, and today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to glaze furniture, also called antiquing. And really what we're going to do is take a bright color like this green and tone it down a little bit, give it a little bit more of an aged look, a little bit more interest. This is milk paint. It's a custom mix of lime green and coastal blue, so it's this really nice bright Kelly green, and it's painted. It only has one coat actually, because we're going to cover up some of the brush strokes that are left with the glaze. So it only has one coat, and then we're going to glaze it and seal it up, and it'll be finished. So let's get started here. What you're going to need, I'm going to use General Finishes Glaze Effects in Van Dyke Brown. That's what this looks like right here. It's a dark brown color. It is thinner than paint, so that's kind of what glaze is. I feel like glazing, color washing is similar. Color washing, you're adding more color. Glazing is almost toning down the color with a darker color like a brown or a black. The other thing I use is a damp paper towel and also a dry one, and you're gonna play around with what effect you like better. Wiping with the damp will take off more, and the dry one won't take off so much. So have those both handy. Wear a glove. This will really sink into your fingers and will be hard to wash off. And just like color washing, it's really a brush on and wipe off process. It can get a little messy, so be prepared for that. We're just going to get started here. Usually I do the drawers separate from the dresser, but just so you can see, I'll get started on them while they're all put together here. And this is important to do one section at a time, so we're going to do each drawer separately. You don't want to get glaze on the whole thing and then try and go back over it, because it will dry too quick for you to work with it. You want it to be nice and workable. I think antiquing or glazing sounds pretty hard and people are really intimidated by it, but it's really easy, and it very quickly gives you some really neat results that you can't really do any other way. So we're going to go back. I'm going to start with my damp rag, and we're just going to do kind of circular motions to get started here. It's going to sink into any paint strokes, brush strokes that you have, any dings or nicks. It'll fill in there depending on how detailed your piece is. You'll get some fill in of the spots. So it's really going to bring out the age of the piece. That's why it's called antiquing. It's almost like dirt has settled in cracks over so much time you can't wash it anymore, which I don't know if I should compare this to dirt, but that's really the look that we're going for. It's good to keep that in mind. All right, so this top drawer has been done, and I like the way that looks. It's just enough. You can compare it to the bottom drawer here. So it just gives it a richer look, tones down the color just a little bit more interest. If you have something more detailed like up here, I just like get your brush in there real good. I'm gonna leave those cracks with a little bit of extra glaze. I think flat surfaces like the top is almost the hardest to get a consistent look all the way across. So I just wanted to show you that. We're just going to continue the same way. And you really just keep working with it until you get the look that you want. Keep moving it around until it looks uniform and even. Another thing to note, this is milk paint. It has not been sealed with any kind of clear coat. However, if you want to have more control over the wax, or the glaze, excuse me, you can seal it with a clear coat, and it will not soak in quite so much. I don't feel like this is turning out super dark, but it will give you a little bit more workability. You always want to make sure your paint is sealed. You wouldn't want to use glaze over a flat paint or a chalk paint because it will really soak in and you won't be able to move it around the way that you want. So make sure it's a paint that has some kind of finish. I would say, at least an eggshell or satin. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy. You're just going to get brown blobs here. I moved on here to my dry lot. Just going to continue working around. I kind of like to alternate circles and strokes. You don't want it to look streaky, so that's what we're working on preventing here. All right. So see that? Now, the glaze, since we wiped off really so much of the glaze, it's only going to take probably an hour to dry, and then we will go back in with a clear coat and seal it all up. You could always do multiple coats of glaze if you want it darker, but this is about the effect I was going for this piece. So I'm going to let it dry, and then we will be back to seal it all up. Okay, the last step after the glaze is all dry is just to seal it up with a clear coat. I'm going to use High Performance Top Coat in the flat finish, and I'm just going to coat the whole thing with one coat of finish using my pretty brush. Just keep your long, even strokes so you don't add any brush strokes to the piece. Let it dry, and then I'm going to reattach the hardware and show you the finished piece.